Hello Internet, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to review the 2.5 release, which includes some new cool stuff like the SASS integration and some UX announcements inside the backend, the theme settings, new keyboard shortcuts inside the builder to open advanced themer panels and other cool stuff. A better client editing options to control what your client are able to edit inside the builder, and some improvement to the template tricks, and a lot of various fixes and improvements through all the advanced themer function. There is a huge list here. In this video, we are not going to cover every single fix, but I'm going to show you the main features of this release and the new builder tricks that are shipped inside this version. So keep watching this video and learn the new stuff in Advanced Themer 2.5. The first change I want to show you are the UX announcements. Inside the theme settings, a couple of things have changed, and I hope for the best, of course. And mostly inside the Builder Tricks tab. Now, a couple of things change. So, for example, before, in the previous releases, we had a general tab, like you can see, for example, in CSS classes. You see we have a general class tab, and we can manage the tab showing on the left. Okay. This general tab has been deprecated because now all the tricks are applying according, of course, to the options you enabled or disabled. But you don't have to choose which tab you want to activate on the left side because they are shown by default. Okay, so you are just focusing on the tweaks you want to enable for each specific category. Okay, and that's the first thing. The second thing that you can see is that there are more categories inside each tweaks. So for example here, the builder tweaks have been separated with the shortcuts. So you can decide whenever you want to enable the responsive helper or any builder tweaks. That's one category. The second one is just for the shortcuts. Okay, same thing apply in the structure panel. You have the builder tricks related to the structure panel, and then you have the shortcuts that you can enable or disable. Okay, because there are two separated things. You can decide to have the builder tricks active without specific icon shortcuts. Why? Because the one of the main focus of this release was to make your builder less full of icons and less overwhelming. Okay, so now you have new options to limit the use of icons everywhere on the builder. And the same thing goes for elements, of course. The builder tricks is one category, and the second one is the shortcuts you want to show. Of course, now you have new options that I want to explain to you just after this, like the class contextual menu and the AT main menu, which include a lot of previous function used with the icons. Now you have a complete menu that you can use without the need of adding an icon for every single tweak. But I will cover this in the next chapter. Right now, I just want to show you the differences inside the admin side. so you are not confused. Okay, and a couple of things I want to draw your attention is to since we created new areas inside the admin, some of your options that that you choose before using Advanced Themer may be toggled off. So for example, this section, elements, icon, shortcuts, didn't exist before. It was just a mega menu with the builder tweaks, with a long list of the tweaks mixed with the shortcuts. Now you have a shortcut category dedicated only for the shortcuts. But since this category is new, it won't import all your selections from the previous solution. So a lot of people asked, where are my left tab shortcuts? Right now it's not selected by default in this new category, so you have to come back in the settings and toggle on again and make sure that your shortcuts are correctly here enabled, because I think for one particular function that I'm going to comment later, the borders needed to be renamed, and since it was renamed, probably it will show unselected when you first install 2.5. So you have to go manually inside the theme setting and make sure to re-enable borders, left tabs, pseudo elements, everything that you had before right here. Okay? You see the new tag legacy. I'm going to talk about it later, but this will be quite important to understand the differences between the new menus and the old icon system. Okay? Another change I want to focus on is before in the CSS classes, you had the advanced CSS options, and that was a bit confusing because it's also a builder tweak. So the advanced CSS have been moved inside the classes and styles tab inside the builder tweak, and now you can change. You see here the advanced CSS editor options are here, and just a quick anticipation, you see that we have now the SASS integration, which is an experimental feature that you can toggle on, and we are going to discuss this right now. But yeah, I think it's a small announcement, but you see the headers have been increased, so you can check every single type of categories. The general tab deprecated, so one thing less that you have to worry about, and things look a bit more polished compared to the previous release. Okay, so now let's talk about the AT main menu, which is in the top bar tab here on the left, and you see that we have now a new AT main menu item inside the icon shortcuts, and you can see the recommended tag and all the other ones are legacy. What is the difference between them? It means that all the legacy options are not strictly needed in order to work correctly inside the builder, because all these options will be available inside the AT main menu. So you can also decide to enable all of them or only a few of them. For example, I always use the global class manager, the global color manager, and the advanced CSS. I decided to keep these options enabled just for my convenience inside the builder, but it's not required. Let's just save the settings, come back in the builder, refresh, and we'll see on top the new AT menu, which is AT right here. We have still our class manager icon. If I click on it, it will open the class manager. Same thing with advanced CSS it will still open Advanced CSS, and my color manager is here on the right. But now if I click on the AT main menu, you'll see that we have now all the list of functions which I call global functions of AT, or Advanced Themer. What is a global function? It's a function that doesn't require a specific element to be selected in order to work. So my global class manager, if I click on this item, it will open the class manager. I don't need to be selected on a specific element inside my structure. It will open the global class manager, right? And it's the same for all the other options. So for example, I didn't enable the grid guides icon because maybe I don't use it often inside my builder. I just want to have the option available in case I need it. And it's now sit inside the menu, and I can enable it by clicking on it, of course, or by the toggle here on the right, which doesn't close the menu. And the same thing goes for the X mode and all the other options here. Okay. For the grid guides, for example, before we had an option inside the top bar to manage the settings. Now we have this little icon here, the settings. If I click on it, it will open the grid guide options like before. Okay. So nothing really new here aside from the keyboard shortcuts. So you see that all the options have now keyboard shortcuts. And if we go in the theme settings again, we go in the shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, and you will see that you can set all your shortcuts. And we have also new possibilities here because, for example, the query loop manager, the structure helper, the find and replace and plain classes didn't have a specific keyboard shortcut for them yet. And now it has been added as an option here. And if you change, of course, the letter or the number here, it will show inside the shortcut inside the menu. Okay, so this is to me a good solution if you don't want to have here dozens of icons, and keep in mind that probably there will be always more functions in Advanced Themer. Okay, I have no plan to stop the production of the plugin. So you can just add new icons in the top bar, in the structure. So you have to find a way to manage in future new options. And this is now the way to go with the AT main menu. So you have everything inside a single menu, right? Okay, let's speak about now the class, the class contextual manager. So the same thing, the same logic goes for the left panel, which is managed inside elements, and you see that we have these category icon shortcuts. Okay. The same thing goes for the class contextual menu, so it's recommended, and all the legacy options you see here are included inside the class contextual menu. If you want, you can of course enable any of them. They won't go away. I'm not planning to delete them or remove them. You will still have the option to enable them, but it's just now duplicated compared to the class contextual menu. So if I enable this and save, let's see what is the class contextual menu. Let's reload. And let's click on any element of the structure. So my hero, for example. And I'm going to see now these three dots on the right of the class input. And if I hover on it, I can see the class contextual menu. If I click on it, a new menu will show with a lot of previous functions that were enabled with the icon. Now you can just access to them just from this menu. Okay, we have hide or show element, export ID style to class, extend classes. We have also new option here, copy all classes and paste all classes, and also reset all classes. What does it mean? It means that if I create test1, and let's remove the menu for now, test2, and let's also do test3, test3. Okay, imagine you have a long list of classes you want to copy from one element to another. You can just go here. By the way, oh, sorry, I'm going to talk about this later, because the class contextual menu is different based on if you are on the ID level or if you have a class selected. Okay, so right now let's just pretend we are on ID level. Open it, copy all classes. I'm going to go in content, and if I paste my all classes, you see that test1, 2, 3 have been added to the elements just in one click. And if I want to remove them all from the element, I'm going just to do reset all classes, and all the classes have been removed from this element, right? Okay, let's come back. This is just an addition to, and it's useful because you see, if I wanted to have this new function, I would have added another icon. Where do I add a new icon? At some point there is no place inside the builder, so I had to find a way to be able to continue adding new stuff. Okay, and I think this contextual menu for classes is the best option for now. Okay, so you have a lot of functions inside them. Right now we are inside the class, and you see that it's not export ID styles anymore, but it's import, and you can extend the classes, clone the classes, copy the classes to clipboard, remove the class from the element. You can also delete the class definitely, and it's in red. Okay, so be careful with this option. And of course, you have the open class in the global class manager, the component class manager, and the class converter, the style overview. Everything is in here. Okay. And that's it. It's pretty easy. Just click outside the menu to close it. And now, if you ever want to apply advanced themer function to your styles and classes, you don't have to figure out which icon was it again. Okay, just click on the contextual menu and easily find the option inside here. Okay, let's now talk about the new option in strict editor view. So you know that Advanced Themer has an option, a lot of options for your editors or clients to limit the content that they can change, so they are not able to mess with your design. And a further enhancement of strict editor view is to control the fields that for each element that your editor, your client, can edit or not. And this new feature is inside the AT main menu, so let's open it. Sorry, first let's click on a heading. You see that normally all these fields are enabled for your client. So let's just open the strict editor settings. Here you see there is a new menu. Let's click on it, and you see on the left we have all the controls, the new toggles. And if it's toggled, it means that the editor has the right to change it on his builder, right? Let's just prove it by saving this. I'm going to reopen this I'm going to switch user. Let's switch user first. Okay, and I'm going to refresh the page in editor mode, right? Okay, let's take over and click on the heading, and you see that all the fields are showing for the editor. But maybe, I say maybe, it's not a good idea to let them change the HTML tag, or the type, or style, or the link. Let's say we just want them to be able to change the text and the link. All the rest should be hidden, right? So for this, let's come back to the admin view. Let's take over again. Heading. We enable strict editor settings, and we are going to disable HTML tag, type, and also style. Okay, now it's disabled, but we need to save the settings, so we need to reopen AT main menu. You see a little disk here, save settings. Let's just click on it. Strict editor settings saved successfully. Okay, let's save the page anyway. And now let's reopen the page for the editor. So let's go back to the editor view. Let's refresh our builder. And let's see how it changed. Take over. Let's click on heading. And you see now only the content and the link is editable for your editors, for your clients, which is great because now you can customize the whole experience of the builder of editing for your clients, and completely manage the option that could possibly break your design. So let them only change what you want to change, and avoid any mistake by handling the design to your clients. A small advice here. So when you change these settings, right now I was on the old one. I need to be here, right? So it will show the correct settings again. Okay, these settings will be applied on all the same element type. So if I now click on another heading, okay, it's another element inside the page. You see that all the headings will now inherit the same settings that for the strict editor view. Okay, so you don't have to do this for every single element. So if you do this for the heading, basic text, images, and all that stuff, you are good to go. You do just one time, and it will apply for all the elements, for all the pages inside the builder. Okay, so this is something you need to do once, and forget it. Okay, just make sure to click on the disk icon, because if you don't save the settings, this is not something settings that gets saved when you save the page, but you need to express to go to the settings, to save the settings through the disk icon to make it work. Okay, right now, if you don't enable any builder trick for the strict editor view, you will see the core selection of fields made by bricks enabled. So, for example, what I mean is, if you don't make any changes, all these fields will be normally they will be enabled. Okay, but there was a request inside the Facebook group, which totally makes sense, is to, instead of disabling all the fields for each element, okay, let's start the opposite. Let's disable all the elements by default. okay, and let me enable the one that I want to enable for my clients, okay. And there is a trick for that now. So let's go back to the theme settings, okay. Let's go into the strict editor view, and if we go to elements, we have a new option here, builder tweaks for editors. This has been remade from the scratch, and you see that the first tweak here, disable all controls by default. Let's save these settings. We'll make them all red by default. So if I now reload my builder, and let's check, for example, I don't remember if I played before with the image, for example, the image element. Okay, let's enable strict editor settings, and you see all the fields are now disabled by default. Okay, and if I go to it's pretty radical. It's a radical choice, because now if I go to users and switch to editor, reload the page in editor, I'm taking over and I'm clicking on an image, you see that they can't change anything in the image. They can't change the image itself, right? So it's pretty radical by choice. Once you disable every settings, the editor can't change anything on your website. So you need to make sure. Let's go back to, sorry, let's go back here, my admin. I'm going to reload here. Once you disable by default every control, make sure to enable the one you want to change. So, for example, in the image, if we come back to the image, let's re-enable the strict editor settings. We want them, probably at least, want them to be able to change the image. So let's enable this setting. And maybe we want them to be able to change the link. Okay, and once I've done this, only the image and the link will be editable for the clients. Okay, so this small overview to show you that if you are somehow stressed to the idea to let your clients manage the builder inside Bricks, well, this is a powerful option for them to be able to still change the option inside the page, but you have full control over what they can do and what they can't do, right? Okay, let's continue with let's continue to see the tweaks for the strict editors. So let's come back in the theme settings, and we have a couple of them that we can show you. So hide the ID class control, let's enable it. Hide the dynamic data trigger, let's enable that. Hide the text adding toolbar, I will show you what it is. And hide the structure panel, I want to hide it as well. And the other one are the old one, so disable header and footer edit button, remove templates, and if you want now to inject CSS, there is a new option here, and you can inject CSS that will apply only inside the strict editor view, right? So let's just ignore that for now. These are all tweaks, so I'm not going to review them. Just for now, let's just save the settings. Let's just keep reduce left panel visibility for now out of the option. I want to show you how is the builder now for your editor. Let's switch. And let's refresh the editor. So now let's take over. You see that the structure panel is hidden, like we chose before. If I click on a text here, you see that the toolbar, normally you have a toolbar to change the text, for example, and make it bold or italic. There is no more styling option for the text. And you see that we don't have also on the left the ID class input. Okay, so probably your client doesn't know what it means, an ID, a class, and it makes no sense to show them. They just see the text and the link to for the header. Okay, and if they want to change the image, since there is no more structure panel, they just click on the image to change it. But why if I click, I'm clicking it, but you see that no option is showing. Why? Because we decided to disable it for the client. So I will show you why. Let's come back here. Yeah, it's a bit changing from admin to editor is a bit a pain, but I guess you know what I mean. Okay, let's go in the element, and you see we didn't enable the following elements for strict editor view. Since images is here and it's not enabled, it's not clickable, and no option will show up if they click on an image. If now I enable image in my selection here, I'm going to save the settings. Okay, let's go back to user and the editor view, switch to, reload the builder, and now you see that the user can select the image. And of course I didn't save the strict editor settings before, so there is nothing, no fields showing here. But if you change them inside the strict editor, you will see you can change the image, the link, and any control that you want your client to be able to change it. Okay. The last thing I want to show you for the strict editor is the left panel visibility. So in Advanced Themer, there is an option which is not really known. There is I don't think there is any video about it, but there is this reduced left panel visibility, which allows your clients to have a full size editor, so to hide the left panel most of the time, and it will just show the left panel only when needed. Okay, so for example, we want them to show the panel only when clicking on an heading, a text basic, and an image, for example. Let's change the settings, and since we are in admin now, I want to take over. And I want to actually save this setting, so we see that they can change. I hope it works correctly because I changed the roles. But let's change like this. Users. Let's switch back. Did I save? No, I don't know. I don't know if I saved it correctly. Let's double check. Okay, I believe I did it correctly. Let's switch again. And now let's refresh for editors. And you see now the builder is full size. There is no more left panel here. But if I click now on the heading, you'll see that the option will show up on the left. If I click on any other elements of the page, the left panel is hidden. Or if I click on the image, now the image will show And you see that now the option to change the image or to change the link is enabled again. So this is, in my opinion, a better way for your client to edit things, because I believe they just want to click, for example, this heading, they just want to change things here. Okay, really easy, really intuitive, like click and change the things on the menu that they show, and then no other distraction and thing to care of. Okay, this is the value of, let's go back to admin. This is basically the value added by the tweak reduce left panel visibility, which you can find here in the builder tweaks for editors, reduce left panel visibility. And when you selected reduce left panel visibility, I'm not sure if I explained it correctly, but you can select which elements you want to enable the left panel. So for example, you may just want them to change images, for example, not headings. So now we are hiding the heading and the text basics. Let's save settings. I want to show what will be the experience for the editor. So let's switch again. Switch to, and you see that in the main cases it won't be a problem. I would keep them hidden for my clients, because they can change the text. Let's click on the heading, and they can change my perfect property into house without having a left panel. If they don't have to change a link or any other property from the left panel, it's probably a better idea to keep the left panel hidden, right? But of course, if they need to change the image, then we need the left panel to be able to access the options, right? So just to sum up all the possibilities for the strict editor view, sorry, I won't restart right now. You can choose the elements that are editable. Okay, so right now, for example, the basic text is not editable. So if I click on it, the client can change the text. You can make it editable. For example, the heading right now, it's editable. And for example, the image, it's editable and it's open the left panel, and you can decide which controls the editor can manage through the strict editor settings inside the builder, inside your admin builder. So you have full control over the experience of your editors. Of course, you can change also the tab bar. You can eventually hide these breakpoints, all the top bar icons, everything. So the client is it's like editing a live page on front end, basically. Really, really easy, even for editors that know nothing about web development. Okay guys, let's talk about advanced CSS and the new SASS integration in 2.5. So let's go back in the backend, and in builder tweaks, classes and styles, you see a new category here, advanced CSS editor, where you see on the bottom we have the SASS integration. Make sure to enable it. It's an experimental feature, so maybe right now you might not want to enable it on production, just to make sure that everything is going smoothly during this experimental phase. But until now, I didn't receive any particular issue from the update, so it looks like everything is working as expected, right? And if you go to elements, make sure that SuperPower CSS is enabled, this one, And you see also the SASS integration is for SuperPower CSS. Okay, make sure to save the settings. And let's reload the builder. Okay. Let's click on any element here. And let's go to the CSS. And you see that now SuperPower CSS is enabled with the SASS icon, which means that you can actually write SASS code into your CSS now, right? And if we go into Advanced CSS, which is this icon, Advanced CSS is now also enabled for SASS. And since we also enable SuperPower CSS, our global class manager, if we click on any class, you see that the custom CSS that you can write for classes also has the SASS icon enabled, and you can write SASS right here, right? Okay, that's the first thing. I'm not going to write SASS right now. I just believe me, it works. Okay, but you can if you are new to SASS, there are nice functions like nested declarations. You can use things like loops. You can use like for each and mixins, includes function that are not existing in vanilla CSS and allow you to write better CSS code and faster than vanilla. And basically what the integration does is converting your SASS code into vanilla CSS inside the builder. So as you type your SASS code inside the editor, it's automatically changed. How to say in easy words? It's traduced in vanilla CSS. So what gets saved inside the builder is still the vanilla CSS, but it just allows you to write it in the editor, and inside the Bix builder, the vanilla CSS is applied, and on front end you don't have SASS code. You have always vanilla CSS too. So if anything break inside the editor, you will see it directly, because that means that the SASS code wasn't correctly inserted. Because if it doesn't translate correctly in vanilla CSS, you will see it on the builder, right? So I'm saying this because it won't, this integration won't slow down your front end, for example, because the traduction from the SASS code to vanilla is happening inside the builder. So when you save your page, all the CSS is like you wrote yourself the CSS. It's not something that is compiled during the server load. Okay, so it doesn't attack your memory of the server. It's all happening inside the builder. Right, so as you can see, there are a couple here, a couple of improvements. So now the shortcuts are hidden by default. So you can, of course, reactivate it by clicking this icon, show shortcuts, and you have all the shortcuts for the SuperPower CSS. But now the default view is full size CSS. But if you want to be full screen CSS, there is a new icon here, full screen. If you click on it, you have now the possibility to write CSS on a full screen size. And it worked like before, of course. You can add the add root, color red, and it works like before. Okay, and if you want to go back, just click on full screen, and you are back in the normal view. Let me think if I want to show you anything. So there are improvements for the suggestion, the variable suggestion. So before, if I was doing something like this, let's say animate. Okay, you see that now we have suggestion for vanilla CSS. The first two one are vanilla CSS, and the other one are variables. And in the previous releases, the vanilla CSS weren't showing correctly because it was only for the variables. Now, tweaking some couple of things, the suggestions are now both vanilla CSS and suggestion. Okay, let's talk about keyboard shortcuts now. There are some improvements on the right and left tabs on the left to navigate through the style tabs, on the right to create elements inside your structure panel using the keyboard. So before jumping on the keyboard shortcuts, I just want to refresh your memory if you are not aware of it. Is Advanced Themer has two ways for adding elements through the right bar. So if you let's create a section. We are going to, the container is automatically selected. But if I click on block, let's say, it will create blocks as siblings. So if I continue clicking block, okay, all the block created will be siblings and all children of the container, right? Let's remove this section. This is the first way to add elements. But now if I click section, and instead of clicking block, I'm going to click shift and click. Okay, both. I'm going to click holding the shift key, right? And you see that when I do this, if I click on block again, instead of siblings, we see that each block created become a child of the previous one. So this is a way to nest elements inside each other. Okay, and there are both these capabilities with keyboard shortcuts. Okay, you can create siblings or you can create nested elements. Okay. So before, to be able to use the keyboard shortcuts, you need to activate the option. On the bottom right, you see an icon, keyboard shortcuts off. Let's click on it. And now the keyboard shortcuts are on. Why do we have this toggle to enable them? Because when you are using keyboard shortcuts, it could mess up with eventually with the builder or some inputs that you need to write text and you don't want to trigger the keyboard shortcuts. So it will only apply when this icon is enabled, right? Now we can use shortcuts. So how to see which key will create any of these elements. You just have to hold shift. If I hold shift, I see now an S for section, C for container, B for block, and each letter is corresponding to the element. So if I click on section, it will create my section correctly in the structure panel. Okay, remember, just like we reviewed before, the two ways of adding the elements. This is true for keyboards also. So if you don't hold shift and just press, let's say, B for block, if I'm just pressing block, I will create siblings, right? Okay, and I'm just hitting B for block. No shift block, no control block, just before block, right? Siblings. If I now want to create nested element, I'm going to create a section. Okay. Now the container is selected, and I'm going to do Shift and B. And now, if I continue clicking them, you will see that the block will be nested from each other. Okay? So 2 ways of adding them. To see the shortcuts, you just have to click Alt. If you release, just have to click the Shift key. If you release the Shift key, the letter will disappear, right? And once you know the letter that you want to click, you can decide if you want the nested blocks or the siblings. Based on that, you will keep holding the Shift key or not, right? The same idea is on the left tabs. You see that now if I hold the Shift key, I will see numbers here from 0 to 9. And if I click on, let's say, 2 for typography, it will open the typography tab. If I do 5, it will be gradient, and it opens the gradient overlay. And if I come to 0, it will reopen the content. Okay, so there is no need to release the Shift key for the left tab, right? You can hold the Shift key and press any number, and it will open the corresponding tab. Okay, guys, last couple of changes I want to show you. The first one is in Elements. You see that the lorem ipsum generator has been improved. If you select it, you see that now we have 2 types of content. Before it was lorem ipsum and human readable content. The human readable content is gone, and it's now custom dummy content. So if you select this one, you see that we still have we have a new option, custom dummy content here, new. And inside we have still the old human readable content as default text, but you can now change to whatever text you want. You just have to separate each sentence by a line. So one line is one sentence, and let's just test it. Let's make my sentence 1 and my sentence 2. Sorry, like this. Let's make cozy, capitalize the first letter, and let's save, or let's make also 3 just to be sure. Okay, let's now save the settings and go back to the builder, refresh, and now let's click on heading for example, and click on the add dummy content. And if I click on it, my sentence 1, my sentence 2, my sentence 3, and if I continue, my sentence 1, my sentence 2, my sentence 3. So now you can customize the text inside the dummy content. You are not forced to use the one provided by AT. Okay, that's one. The second feature I want to show you is for the templates, really quick. So the templates have been corrected because there were some errors in auto select import image and replace content. Probably auto select replace content is quite a radical choice too. You might want to keep it disabled unless you are replacing content regularly. But otherwise, keep it unselected, this one. Otherwise, you may accidentally replace your content when importing templates. But otherwise, there is a new feature here, add a featured image column in the template admin screen. If you keep it enabled, this one, when you go into the templates, you see now there is a new column, featured image, and you have a preview image of the template saved. And since now with I believe it's 2.4 release, you can actually create templates and generating a thumbnail automatically. You can now easily see which template corresponds to which image really quickly. Okay, that's about it. The 2.5 have a lot of fixes that I'm not showing here right now, but this is probably the main focus of this release. So there are some new additions like I presented before, but the main focus has been to create a stable release, fixing the previous bugs, and improving existing solution. Okay. And there are about like something like 40 fixes in this release, and that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you for the next one. Bye bye.